A high school prom. The disco ball is spinning, but the scene on the gym floor is pure chaos. The prom queen, Jessica, is on her hands and knees, her perfect hair a mess and her dress ruined. Her friends are slumped against the punch table, looking completely stunned. And in the middle of it all is Kira, the new girl. Her white prom dress is soaked in red punch, but she's standing tall. The only sign of the storm that just passed is her fists, held loosely at her sides. A gasp ripples through the crowd, then whispers, then cheers. They all thought she was just the quiet new girl. They were about to find out how wrong they were. It all started when Kira Washington and her mom moved to the wealthy suburb of Northwood for a fresh start. Northwood High was a different universe from her old life. We're talking polished marble floors, shiny trophy cases, and kids who looked like they walked straight out of a magazine. From day one, Kira knew she didn't fit in. She was naturally quiet and preferred books over a loud cafeteria. But at Northwood, her quietness was seen as weakness, and her race made her a target. It started small. A conversation would die down the second she walked by. Girls would give her a head-to-toe scan, pausing on her thrift store shoes before writing her off. Then came the whispers, sharp, mean, and just loud enough for her to hear. They'd call her articulate, like it was some kind of shocking surprise, a backhanded compliment meant to remind her she wasn't one of them, but the little digs quickly turned into flat-out cruelty. One day, she found a racist cartoon taped to her locker. Her heart pounded, but she kept her face perfectly calm. She just tore the drawing down, piece by piece, and threw it in the trash without saying a word. Her silence just seemed to make them bolder. In the crowded halls, the school's queen bee, Jessica, would accidentally trip her. Her sidekicks, Tiffany and Brittany, would just laugh as Kira's books went flying. Every single time, Kira would just pick herself up, grab her things, and walk away. She never cried. She never fought back. So, everyone at Northwood saw a victim, someone who just took the hits. They couldn't see the steel in her spine or the discipline that was holding her together. They saw a girl who was breaking down, but really, she was just biding her time. Section 2, The Humiliation and the Secret. Then, right as prom season was kicking into high gear, something strange happened. Mark, the star quarterback and Jessica's boyfriend, actually started talking to Kira. He was charming, said he was sorry for how his friends were acting, and was just nice. He asked about her classes, her favorite books, and then, he asked her to prom. Kira's gut screamed it was a trap. But a tiny part of her hoped it was real, a chance to have just one normal, happy high school night. So, she said yes. Prom night arrived, and it was glittering with false promises. Kira wore a simple but elegant white dress, a hand-me-down from her mom that they'd tailored to fit her perfectly. When she walked into the gym, the whole room went quiet for a second. For just a moment, she felt beautiful. That's when their cruel plan kicked in. The principal announced a surprise, prom royalty vote. And to everyone's shock, they called Kira's name for prom queen. Confused, she was pushed toward the stage by a smiling Mark. She stood there under the spotlight, the crowd chanting her name like a joke. And then it happened. A net of balloons above her opened, but instead of balloons, a bucket of sticky, red punch poured all over her. The laughter was instant and vicious. But that wasn't all. A giant screen behind the stage lit up. It was a whole montage of her humiliation, security footage of her being tripped, photos of the racist drawing, and cruel memes they'd made from her school ID. Jessica walked out with a crown in her hand and a poisonous smile, ready for the final insult. But that was the moment everything changed. The girl they thought they were breaking was made of something much, much stronger. See, here's the thing they didn't know, Kira Washington wasn't just the quiet new girl. She wasn't a victim. Kira was a two-time state boxing champion. She basically grew up in a gym, trained by her late father, a pro fighter, since she was 6. He taught her how to move, how to read an opponent, and most importantly, how to control her power. Boxing was in her blood. It was her armor. And her dad had given her one rule she never broke: never start a fight, but always, always finish it. And Jessica had just thrown the first punch. Section 3, The Reversal. Back on that stage, soaked and humiliated, something inside Kira just clicked. The roar of the crowd faded away. The hurt was gone, replaced by an ice-cold focus. Jessica, with Tiffany and Brittany right behind her, strutted onto the stage to gloat. "Ah, look at the prom queen," Jessica sneered, and shoved Kira's shoulder. "Not so special now, are you?" Kira didn't even move an inch. Her feet were planted, her balance was perfect. Her posture, which had been slumped in defeat, was now straight as an arrow. She just looked at Jessica with calm, unblinking eyes. The hunter had just become the hunted. Jessica, furious that Kira wasn't crying, shoved her again, but harder this time. It was a huge mistake. It happened so fast, you could barely see it. Kira didn't block the push, she redirected it, using Jessica's own momentum against her. It was a simple move from a defensive drill. When Tiffany saw her queen stumbling, she swung a wild, clumsy punch. Kira ducked under it without even trying, her body moving with the grace of a pro fighter. She caught Tiffany's arm, gave it a little twist, and sent her spiraling back into Brittany. The two of them went down in a heap of cheap taffeta. The entire gym went dead silent. Every single phone was now out and recording. Jessica, her face twisted in rage, lunged at Kira. But she wasn't lunging at a scared teenager anymore, she was lunging at a boxer. Kira didn't even throw a punch. She didn't have to. With perfect precision, she landed a quick, open palm strike on Jessica's shoulder. It wasn't enough to hurt her, but it sent a jolt through her whole body. Jessica's legs just gave out, and she crumpled to the floor, stunned. The whole thing was over in less than 10 seconds. Kira stood over them, her breathing slow and controlled. She was done being a victim. The silence was finally broken, not by laughter, but by a few students starting to clap. It spread and grew into a deafening roar. They weren't just cheering for a fight, they were cheering for justice. Conclusion. The fallout was immediate. The videos blew up online before the prom was even over. Faced with video proof and angry parents, the school had no choice but to expel Jessica, Mark, and their friends. The principal, who had ignored Kira's complaints before, was forced to roll out a strict new anti-bullying program. Kira didn't magically become the most popular girl in school. She never wanted that. But she got something way better: respect. Kids who used to look right through her now made eye contact and nodded in the halls. A few even smiled. She ended up finding a small group of real friends who liked her for the strong person she was, not because they were afraid of her. She showed everyone that real strength isn't just about how hard you can hit, it's about how much you can take and still stand tall, refusing to let anyone else tell you who you are. Kira's story is an awesome reminder that you can never judge a book by its cover, and real strength is often hidden. If you were inspired by her story, make sure you like this video and subscribe for more stories of justice. We want to know what you think. Drop a comment below and tell us, what would you have done if you were in Kira's shoes?